It's more the body thing, which is a tacit knowledge, the hand part. That's important. Graphically, tacit knowledge is deep under the ocean. You can't see it. But you know there's a very big pool of tacit knowledge. You all have that, right? And explicit knowledge is the tip of the iceberg. Tip of the iceberg. So these are the two different types of knowledge. And we Asians are very comfortable with tacit knowledge. We have tons of that. And I hope there are not too many Westerners, but they're really good at the explicit part. And Harvard Business School, 60% of the grade is on what you say in class. So boy, do they talk. And that's par for the course. What's interesting is here's Soichiro Honda, the founder of Honda. And he is known as a very tacit person. He never graduated grade school, but he started this company, and he could tell whether the motorcycle being tested was good or not by vibration. He was a genius. He could tell by how much it was vibrating whether it was good or not. This is tacit, and you don't need a college degree to find that out. Now, in Japan, we say the best form of communication is the breath of ah and un. So Jiro Nonaka and I have been working together for 38 years. I met him the day before coming here. And he and I would look into our eyes, right? And he would say, ah. And I would say, hmm. And we all understand. Because we share values and beliefs, right? That's the best form of communication, we say. Ah, un. Now, in our business school, we think tacit knowledge is so important. We start the program by doing team building exercise. So we take them up to the mountains and we let them do the ropes course, climb the wall. This is all tacit stuff. There's nothing intellectual about it. But they learn that teamwork is important. So in order to survive our MBA program, now our MBA program is International Corporate Strategy, right? And the acronym is ICS. After 2 months, our MBA students, no. ICS does not stand for International Corporate Strategy. It stands for I can't sleep. So it's a very tough program, very tough program. Now, in order to survive, you need teamwork, right? You need others to help you. But the only way to learn is through the body. So that's why we do this. We also want them to learn what it feels like to be 75 years old. So we let them wear these gear and walk around downtown Tokyo, bent, right, with goggles because they can't see. And this will teach them what it means to be 75 years old. We also take autistic children to a horseback riding camp, overnight camp. The children riding the horses are the autistic children. The students wearing red vests are our MBA students. And we say that MBAs in the 21st century, it's not enough just to solve business problems, economic problems, but 21st century MBAs have to solve social problems. And one of the biggest social problems is human capital. So we spend 2 days together with mentally handicapped children, encourage them to ride a horse. In the beginning, They're very scared of horses. They don't want to ride it. But our MBA students encourage them after taking a bath together, after having dinner and breakfast together. And sure enough, they get on the horses. Now, what's interesting is once they get on the horse, they don't want to get off. But that's learning, right? There's knowledge that was gained. So we do these things. Now, let me give you an example of a company. I don't know if you've heard of Shimano. How many of you heard of a bicycle components manufacturer called Shimano? Oh, okay, great. They make components only for road bikes, for mountain bikes. And they have about 80% share of the world for high-end bicycles. And these guys, the tacit knowledge that they gain is by visiting the dealers. So they force their young engineers to go on a caravan, they say. 3 months, they have to go from bicycle shop to bicycle shop in the United States, trying to learn from the dealers what are some of the needs, what problems do you have, what kind of gear would you like. This is mandatory for them. They also send their people to races in Europe, because in Europe, this is where all the road races are, and they have to understand what it means to be able to compete in a road race, because they don't have road races in Japan back then. So people from Shimano who attend the road races get a big shock, because the tires, of course, bent. The crank is split in half. They have all these things that they've never imagined. And it is by being together with a team that they understand what it means to race in the international scene. They also are the inventor of mountain bikes. And of course, mountain bikes, is totally against common sense, right? Because Shimano was known to create components for bicycles that enabled you to go from point A to point B safely and fast. Mountain bikes went from the top of the mountain to the bottom of the hill without using brakes, right? Dangerously. You had to be like a kamikaze pilot in order to come down those mountains. But what's interesting is the president of Shimano at that time went to San Francisco. This is where mountain bikes started. Straight from the airport to Mount Tamalpais, went to the top of the mountain, and he was 34 years old at the time, said, I'm going to try this mountain bike. With his suits, started riding a mountain bike. 20 minutes later, he's at the bottom of the hill, soaking wet, dirty with mud. But the first thing he said was, this is fun. So that's how they got into mountain bikes. They now have 80% share of the mountain bike market. This is all what we call explicit tacit knowledge. Now, in order for new knowledge to be created, there has to be a conversion. It's not enough just to have tacit knowledge. You have to be able to convert tacit knowledge to explicit knowledge to tacit knowledge. Now, the challenge for a lot of the Japanese, and I bet you a lot of Thais as well, is the former. How can we convert knowledge that we have tacitly in our body, in our hunch, be able to articulate it in words? That's our challenge. challenge for a lot of the Westerners is the reverse.